It began with a lie. Not a simple political lie, but a mathematical deception of historic proportions. A secret agreement hatched in the shadows of Wall Street that allowed an ancient nation to enter the most exclusive economic club in the world. The year was 2001. Greece, the cradle of democracy, joined the Eurozone, adopting the single currency, the euro. They promised fiscal stability. They were welcomed as partners. But in reality, the country's finances were a house of cards. They'd breached the entry rules on day one. And when the truth finally broke a decade later, it revealed a budget deficit that wasn't the promised 3% of GDP, but a catastrophic 12.7%. This single, manipulated number didn't just expose corruption. It revealed a fundamental, terrifying flaw at the heart of global finance. It forced the world to ask, how do you bankrupt the nation when that nation can't print its own currency? And more terrifyingly, when Greece failed, who was really paying the price? Was it the Greek public drowning in austerity? Or was it the mighty European banks finally forced to face the consequence of their own reckless decisions? This isn't a story of a lazy country. It's a financial thriller involving three forces: a nation desperate for prestige, global bankers hungry for fees, and a financial structure fundamentally incapable of handling a crisis. We will tell the story of the Greek debt crisis not as a political squabble, but as a chronological chain of cause and effect. The story of how a country sold its future and what its collapse almost cost the world. To understand this disaster, we must first understand the Eurozone itself. It was an ambitious, utopian experiment, a monetary union without a fiscal union. The rules were clear. Countries had to maintain a public debt to GDP ratio under 60% and an annual budget deficit under 3%. These were supposed to ensure fiscal responsibility. Greece desperately wanted in. Membership promised two things: prestige and, more importantly, cheap money. Before the euro, Greece had high inflation and high interest rates because lenders knew the drachma could be devalued. It was a risky loan. But when Greece joined in 2001, it suddenly issued debt in euros, the currency of Germany. Markets viewed a Greek bond and a German bond as having the same currency risk. Greek borrowing costs plummeted from over 10% to just 4%. It was a massive, sudden windfall. Money flooded into Athens. The entire country got drunk on easy credit. The system was designed to reward discipline, but it was being manipulated to reward deception. The core problem, the one the architects tried to ignore, was this. When a small nation inside a monetary union can no longer pay its bills, it cannot print money, and it cannot devalue its way out of trouble. It has no escape valve. And the reason Greece even got into the club? That brings us to our first twist. Greece's debt was already well over the Maastricht limit, hovering above 100% of GDP. They needed a miracle, or, as it turned out, a derivative. In 2001, Goldman Sachs offered the Greek government an off-market financial product known as a cross-currency swap. This was not hedging. It was an accounting trick. Goldman Sachs gave Greece a massive upfront cash payment, a hidden loan, by calculating the value of the swap using a fictional, historically inflated exchange rate. Greece used this cash to instantaneously pay down its existing debt, making its deficit numbers for that crucial qualifying year magically shrink on paper. The cause: Financial ingenuity disguised a loan as a swap. The effect: Greece secured its Eurozone ticket and billions in cheap credit. The debt wasn't gone. It was simply transferred into a secret contract that would cost Greece dearly later. The country had leveraged its entire future to buy membership. From 2002 to 2008, Greece was caught in a boom fueled by internal imbalance. The cause: access to cheap credit and a government structurally unwilling to reform. The effect: a massive spike in consumption and a dramatic loss of competitiveness. Greek public sector wages soared, driven by political patronage. The price of Greek goods and services skyrocketed, making them uncompetitive globally. The country developed a massive current account deficit. Simply put, Greece was buying far more from the world, German cars, French appliances, than it was selling. This deficit was funded entirely by European banks buying Greek bonds. These banks, primarily German and French, happily bought up billions in what they believed was risk-free euro debt. The Greek debt problem was now the European banking system's problem. The music stopped in October 2009. The true budget deficit was revealed, a catastrophic 12.7% of GDP. Markets instantly downgraded Greek debt to junk status. Interest rates spiked past 15%. Greece was bankrupt. The crisis became global. The Troika, the ECB, IMF, and Eurozone announced a massive 110 billion euros loan, but this was a bank rescue. The funds immediately flowed out to pay off reckless private European creditors. In return, Greece received crushing austerity measures, huge cuts to wages and pensions. Austerity didn't fix the debt. It destroyed the economy. GDP contracted by a devastating 25%. In 2015, the public voted oxy, no, to reject the demands. But democracy was overruled. The ECB froze liquidity for Greek banks, imposing immediate capital controls. Faced with a total collapse, the political will surrendered. Greece accepted the third bailout. The will of the people was crushed by the power of the central bank. The Greek tragedy is the blueprint for modern crises. The pattern is eternal. Hidden leverage is created. Austerity is wrongly enforced. And monetary power always trumps political choice. Greece paid a devastating price. The final lesson is clear. The financial system always saves itself first, no matter the cost to democracy. What is the modern hidden swap in our economy right now? Tell me the asset or the leverage that's being ignored in the comments below. We'll keep digging.